How's it going there, everyone? What we are going to be doing in this video today is we are going to be looking at the all-new 2020 Jeep Gladiator in person and basically just going to discuss the specs of the vehicle that we are looking at exactly, and also discuss some of our first impressions and thoughts about the vehicle. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. The Jeep Gladiator we are looking at contains a 3.6 liter V6 that puts out 285 horsepower at 6,400 RPMs. This is also paired to an 8-speed automatic 850 RE transmission, and the current trim level for this particular model we are looking at, they call this the Overland trim, which is paired to a four-wheel drive drivetrain, with the fuel economy being 17 miles per gallon in the city, 22 miles per gallon on the highway. Combining those together winds up putting out 19 miles per gallon. Alright, so taking a look at the front of the Jeep Gladiator, as you can see, it resembles the same look and style of the Jeep Wrangler. Here it is looking from the top, working our way down, the way the headlights are shaped, the headlamps, the fog lamps, the fenders, the bumper, pretty much looks identical to what you would find on a Jeep Wrangler. Up until you look on the side is when you'll notice that this is actually a pickup truck with the bed being in the back. Of course, here we are looking at the wheel setup for this particular model we are looking at right here, the granite aluminum wheels. Of course, it has the Jeep Gladiator logo right there along with the running boards. And as you can see, the majority of the body pretty much looks identical to the traditional Jeep Wranglers that we're all used to, with the exception of the bed being added on the back of the vehicle. So here is a side view of the Jeep Gladiator, and if we look up a little bit closer, here are the mirrors, very similar to what you would find on the Jeep Wrangler, maybe the same almost. Here's a sneak peek of the interior, trying to get a glimpse of it as best as I can without having the keys to the interior of the vehicle. And as you can see, very similar, in fact maybe exactly the same as what you would find on the Jeep Wrangler, until you're looking at it from the back is when it differentiates a lot. So obviously you don't have the spare tire hanging on the back of the vehicle. Instead, you have the tailgate with the Jeep logo being so big. Of course, you have the little Overland trim badging over here, Jeep logos here, along with the rear view camera. Of course, this particular truck has the spray and bed liner, decent size truck bed, about the same size that you find on a mid-size pickup truck, for example. So looking at the exterior design of the Jeep Gladiator, as you can see, and as I've said before, it definitely has a familiar look compared to the Jeep Wrangler. For those of you guys that are big fans of the Jeep Wrangler, you'll definitely be a big fan of the Jeep Gladiator for sure. It's just a matter of, do you want the Jeep Wrangler in the truck format, or do you want the Jeep Wrangler in its traditional SUV format? Looking at the design of the Jeep Gladiator, despite it being the same as the Jeep Wrangler, it definitely reminds me of those types of vehicles that you would find or see in pictures from way back then in the old days. So it kind of depends on, like, if you like to have that modern style look of a vehicle, or if you much prefer something that reminds you of something that you've seen way back then, probably like 20 or like 15 years ago, or maybe even longer than that, depending on what time frame you're you missed the design of vehicles in. Overall, I do like the design of the Jeep Gladiator. Would I consider purchasing one of these vehicles for myself? Me personally, maybe not, only because if I were to get a Jeep, I'd probably take the Wrangler, because for me, a pickup truck should have the style or the look that makes it seem tough and is in your face out there in the road. And me personally, the best truck that suits that look very well is the GMC Sierra. Doesn't matter what trim level you get in the Sierra, whether that's the Denali or the SLT, the front end of the GMC Sierra looks very tough. Don't get me wrong, the Jeep Wrangler looks great too. It has more of that off-road look And I guess it kind of depends on what kind of style you're looking for, depending on what your personality is like. In this case, for me, what I like in a pickup truck is for it to look tough, whether it's as close to it or if it has that exact tough look that I'm looking for. The Jeep Wrangler is more of the off-roading style, and I would much rather have that in the Wrangler versus in the pickup truck. Now, here is a comparison I did with the Jeep Gladiator parked next to a Chevy Colorado over here, which is a 2016 model. And as you can see, they don't seem that drastic when it comes to size difference. Maybe the Gladiator is a tad bit wider. Here is the back view of the Gladiator versus the Colorado. Nothing too drastic size-wise, but you definitely notice a big difference when it comes to style. As you can see, the Jeep Gladiator has more of that squared off look, very similar to what you find on the Wrangler, whereas the Colorado has more of that curved look. Now, despite the Colorado, me personally, it doesn't look as tough as the GMC Sierra. This style of the Colorado, for me, is good enough where it's close to that tough look I'm looking for. In addition, since it's a midsize truck, which both of these are, they're very great for daily driving due to their size. Well everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up down below and hit that subscribe button to see more videos like this. And I also want to give a special thank you to Jangrish Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram for having the all-new 2020 Jeep Gladiator parked outside on their lot, because by doing so, we finally got to take a look at it in person to see what it's all about. I will have a link in the description to their inventory / their website. I will see you in the next one. Thank you and have a good day.